The wind that powers a town. In a small coastal town called Seabrook, the wind blew strongly every day. The people used electricity from a faraway coal power station. It was expensive, and the air was often dirty. Lena, a science teacher, noticed how much the town spent on energy. She also saw birds getting sick near the power lines. One day, Lena read about wind energy in a magazine. Wind turbines used wind to make electricity. No smoke, no fuel. She thought, why can't Seabrook use its wind? She showed her students pictures of tall, white turbines spinning on hills. The class made a project. Can wind power our town? Lena took the project to the town meeting. Some people liked the idea. Clean energy is good, said one man. But others were worried. Turbines are noisy, said Mrs. Ford. They will scare the birds and ruin the view, said a fisherman. The mayor said, we need more information before we decide. Lena asked for help from a wind energy company. They sent an engineer named David to study the town. He placed special tools on the hills to measure wind speed. After 3 months, he said, Seabrook has strong, steady wind. It's perfect. He drew a plan, 10 turbines on the North Hill, far from homes. Still, not everyone agreed. A group of people started Save Our Skies to stop the plan. They said the turbines would hurt birds and make noise at night. A local bird watcher, Mr. Hale, said, eagles fly there. We must protect them. Lena and David listened carefully. They changed the plan. The turbines would turn slower during bird migration season. Cameras would stop the blades if birds were near. They also chose a quieter model and painted them light gray to blend in. The energy company promised to clean up after building. The town voted on the plan. It was very close. 52% said yes, 48% said no. The mayor approved the project, but with strict rules. Construction began in spring. Big trucks carried parts up the hill. The townspeople watched every step. It took 4 months to build the 10 turbines. Each one was 80 meters tall, as high as a 25-story building. When the first turbine started, the whole town came to see. It made a soft whooshing sound, not loud at all. Lights on the control panel showed electricity flowing. Within a year, the wind farm made more power than the town needed. Extra energy was sold to nearby towns. These sales brought money to the town. The money helped fix schools and build a new clinic. Electricity bills went down by 30%. The coal stations sent less smoke into the sky. Birds, Mr. Hale kept watching. He reported that only 2 small birds were killed in the first year. The turbines killed fewer birds than windows or cats did. He said, "I was wrong. The turbines can be safe." 5 years later, Seabrook became a model for green energy. Students from other towns visited to learn. Lena won an award for her work. David returned and said, "You proved that change is possible." The wind still blew, now not just wild air, but quiet power. Wind energy didn't fix everything. Sun and water power were also needed on calm days. But Seabrook had taken a brave step. They learned that clean energy needs science, listening, and teamwork. The wind didn't just move the blades, it moved the town forward. The hot air balloon trip. Elena was a 32-year-old photographer who loved nature. She had traveled to mountains, forests, and deserts. But she had never seen the world from a hot air balloon. One summer, she read about a balloon festival in New Mexico. Hundreds of colorful balloons would rise into the sky at dawn. She decided to go and take photos from above. She signed up for a morning flight with a company called Sky Dreams. The guide, Tom, had flown balloons for 15 years. He said, "We fly early because the air is calm and cool." Elena arrived at 5 a.m. in the dark. The field was full of people and large fabric bags. Tom and his team began to inflate the balloon. They used a big fan to fill it with cold air first. Then they turned on the burner. A loud flame shot up. The balloon slowly rose and stood tall in the sky. It was bright red with yellow stripes, like a giant apple. Passengers climbed into the basket made of wicker. Elena felt nervous, but excited. Tom checked the weather one last time. The wind was light and the sky was clear, perfect for flying. At 5:45 a.m., they lifted off the ground. At first, the rise was slow and smooth. Soon, they floated 500 meters above the earth. Elena looked down and saw roads like thin lines and cars like toys. The sun began to rise, painting the sky in pink and gold. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. They floated over farms, rivers, and small towns. Birds flew beside the balloon, curious about the giant shape. Tom explained how hot air makes the balloon rise. "Fire up, we go up. Less fire, we go down," he said. Elena took photo after photo, hands shaking from joy. But then something unexpected happened. The burner made a strange noise and stopped working. The balloon began to drop slowly. Tom tried to restart it, but the flame wouldn't light. Elena's heart beat fast. "Are we falling?" she whispered. Tom stayed calm. We're not falling, we're descending. He checked the fuel line and found a small block. With a quick move, he fixed it and fired the burner again. The flame returned and the balloon rose once more. Everyone in the basket clapped and laughed with relief. 10 minutes later, they saw a good place to land, a wide, empty field. Tom called the ground team on the radio. They drove to the field to help. As the balloon touched the ground, it bounced once, then rolled gently. The basket tipped slightly, but no one was hurt. Back on solid ground, Elena sat quietly for a moment. She had been scared, but also amazed. She looked at her photos. One showed the sunrise through the balloon's flame. It was perfect. Tom gave each passenger a certificate. I flew in a hot air balloon. Elena smiled and said, this was not just a ride, it was an adventure. That evening, she posted her photos online. One picture went viral, the golden sun behind the red balloon. A travel magazine asked her to write a story about the trip. She titled it, Flying with Fear and Wonder. She wrote, the sky teaches you to trust, to stay calm, and to see the world in a new way. From that day on, Elena wasn't just a photographer. She became a storyteller of the sky.
The job search journey. Maria was 28 years old and had just moved to a new city. She wanted to find a job in marketing. She updated her CV and made it look professional. Her CV included her education, work experience, and skills. She wrote, I am a hardworking and creative person who works well in teams. She started applying for jobs online. Every morning, she checked job websites like Indeed and LinkedIn. She found a job she liked, marketing assistant at Greenleaf Company. The job description said, we are looking for someone with good communication skills. Maria thought, this is perfect for me. She wrote a cover letter to go with her application. She began, Dear Hiring Manager, I am writing to apply for the marketing assistant's position. She explained why she was interested and what she could offer. She ended with, Thank you for considering my application. I look forward to hearing from you. Then she clicked send and waited. 1 week passed, no reply. She felt disappointed but told herself, I need to keep trying. She applied for 5 more jobs and followed up with emails. She wrote, I'm following up on my application. Please let me know if you need more information. Then one Tuesday, her phone rang. It was the HR manager from Greenleaf. Hello, Maria. We received your application, she said. We would like to invite you to a job interview. Maria smiled and said, Thank you so much. When would you like me to come? She prepared for the interview by practicing common questions. She asked herself in the mirror, Can you tell me about yourself? She answered, I recently graduated with a degree in marketing. I'm passionate about brand development. She also prepared questions to ask them, like, what does a typical day look like in this role? On the day of the interview, she wore a clean suit and arrived early. The manager greeted her and said, "Please have a seat." The interview began with small talk. "How was your journey here?" Maria said, "It was good, thank you. I'm excited to be here." Then came the real questions. "Why do you want to work for our company?" Maria answered, "I admire your green values and creative campaigns." Another question, "Can you tell me about a time you solved a problem?" She spoke about a university project where she led a team successfully. At the end, the manager said, "Do you have any questions for us?" Maria asked, "What are the next steps in the hiring process?" The manager said, "We will call the top candidate next week." Maria said, "Thank you for this opportunity. I really enjoyed our conversation." She left the office feeling hopeful, but 2 weeks passed, still no call. She started to think, maybe I didn't get the job. She almost gave up, but then she remembered, it's important to stay positive. She kept applying and even asked a friend for a job referral. Her friend said, "I'll put in a good word for you." Then one morning, the phone rang again. It was the HR manager. "Maria, we'd like to offer you the position." Maria said, "Thank you. I accept the offer." She asked about the start date, salary, and benefits. She said, "Could you please send me the contract?" After reading it, she signed and emailed it back. On her first day, she introduced herself to the team. "Hi, everyone. I'm Maria. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to working with you." Her boss said, "Welcome to Greenleaf." Maria learned that job hunting takes time, effort, and confidence. She kept her head up, used the right words, and never stopped trying. And in the end, her persistence paid off.